Good afternoon. It's day 5 on the Continental Divide Trail. It's going to be a great day. Well, today we did a 0 in Lordsburg. Decided to take an extra day after a really good first section from up to Lordsburg. And so today we decided to take a 0 here in Lordsburg. We hiked 84 miles from the border back to Lordsburg, and it was a really good section, but we felt like it made sense for us to kind of give our bodies and our legs a rest. So just had a nice day kind of getting prepared for the next section, eating some good food, doing a little bit of shopping, and kind of getting all those town chores done. I thought I would take this opportunity to kind of reflect on things about the Lordsburg section that maybe would be of interest to people, and just kind of point out some of the things that we noticed and learned along the way. First thing, when we got here, we kind of took a look around. We had a 0 on before we went to the trail. Not sure if I would do that again, just because I felt like we had plenty of time to get ready. When we got here, we came over on a Greyhound bus and had plenty of time to probably get our gear ready, but it did allow us to kind of mentally acclimate and get ready for the hike. So from that standpoint, it was okay. We met the CDT shuttle the next morning, and I just have to say that's really a great service. We had 2 vehicles. They're able to hold 12 hikers at this point in time, and so we had 12 of us going down in 2 different vehicles. One of the nice things about this year, due to border wall construction, they've redone the roads down to the southern terminus, and we got there a lot faster than we anticipated. I think we were on trail by 9-ish, and so we expected not to get down there until 10:30, because in the past the road was really rough and took a long time to get down there. So going forward, I think you should expect that that's going to be better. This year, the NDA requirement was something that we had to kind of jump through the hoops to make sure we could get all the way to the border, but there wasn't any issues with that as well. So that all went very smoothly. We ended up being about 200 yards from the southern terminus because of the fact that there was construction right there at the southern terminus, so there was a lot of workers and materials and things like that sitting there. So we just had to walk about 200 yards to get over to the actual southern terminus, where we took photos and started our hike. We left the southern terminus and headed for Water Cache 1 was our kind of first goal. The one thing I learned about this hike is, the old saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's kind of how it is on the hike. When you look at the goal of getting from Mexico to Canada, it's kind of overwhelming when you look at it in that kind of a perspective. But so what you end up having to do is break it down into small goals. Getting to the next CDT sign is one. You kind of get there, and then you got to get to the next CDT sign. And then obviously one of our big goals for the day was to get through that first 13, I guess it's almost 14 miles, and get to the first water cache. In the desert, water is crucial, and so you really have to know your body and plan accordingly. For me, I'm able to do about a liter every 5 to 6 miles. Seems to work pretty well for me, so I was able to make these 13, 14 mile water carries with 3 liters of water, whereas other people might take 4 or 5 liters to do that same thing. So it's important to know kind of what your hydration requirements are and act accordingly. Once you got to Water Cache 1, the red line stays up on the hillside, or you can take the alternate and go down the blue line. We were advised by the CDT shuttle that they recommended staying up on the red line due to there was a lot of truck traffic for the borderline construction, and it was very dusty. Well, when we got up on the red line, first of all, the red line's very up and down and kind of hard to navigate in places. But definitely when you look down onto where the blue line is, it was just truck after truck after truck, and the dust was just bellowing. You could see it all through the valley there. So definitely recommend staying up on the red line. I think it's more of a trail experience as well. The other one is just a flat road walk. So recommend the red line there. The other thing that we learned very quickly is that the heat can be pretty intense at times, and for sure the sun. I'm a pretty fair skinned guy, and so I wore shorts the first day and didn't have too much trouble till later in the day, and all of a sudden we had the sun dead at our backs, and it seemed like the backs of everybody's legs were getting a little bit burnt. So I put on my lightweight pants and wore them most of the way for the rest of the trip. I'd wear shorts early in the morning, but as soon as it heated up, I would go to pants, so I just didn't have to worry about the heat, worry about the sun exposure. We wore sun gloves. I mean, literally everything that could be covered, we had covered. Fortunately, the sun when you're going northbound is mostly at your back, so if you have your hood up, have a good visor on your cap, sun gloves, you should be pretty much good to go. But I highly recommend that. Some people bring umbrellas, and I would say probably about 30%, 20% of the people that we saw had umbrellas, and there was obvious issues with umbrellas. If it's blowing around, that kind of blows the umbrella, and so I opted to not use an umbrella, and I was kind of actually happy I did. However, there are times when you're suffering in the heat, you're like, man, I should have brought an umbrella. But that's kind of a personal decision, but just make sure and take some precaution for sun exposure, because it's a real deal out there, and it's just hard to get away from it. And obviously, if you get a sunburn early in the hike, it's going to be rough getting all the way back here. So take precaution for that. The other thing about sun exposure is, and what's really cool about trail is, you can kind of hike your own hike, and so if you want to stop and take a break, you can do that wherever you want to. However, there are stretches out there where there's not a tree, not anything to get under to get into some shade. So because of that, due to the lack of shade, I definitely, again, just protect yourself from the sun exposure. Regarding breaks, however, I do recommend taking breaks. And when you find a good shade spot, definitely sit down, take your shoes and socks off, and let your feet breathe for a bit. One of the things they talk a lot about on the CDT is that your feet swell, and that is a large part of the reason that people, I think, have foot issues. Is number one, their shoes are too small. I sized up a full size from what I ordinarily wear in town, and that's been working really well for me. My feet I got a wide toe box topo pair of Traverse shoes, and my feet have a lot of room to work. My toes are, doing well there. So I think that's one of the mistakes that people make is, not having the right shoe and kind of planning for that, but then also take time to take care of your feet on trail, because it's really the one thing that I see blows people up the most is their feet get bad, and then they really suffer. Signage on trail I thought was really quite good. There was only a few sections on the trail where, we might have gotten slightly off. If you're good at navigating with your Far Out app, if you're a little bit off, you just navigate back and get back on trail, and eventually you'll find it. But there are places, where the brush was really thick and people might have scattered out for a little bit, and you can't quite get back online without looking at your Far Out app. But overall, the signage was very good. As far as the water caches go, I think the longest water carry was about 14 miles. That was to the first one. We had another one that was, I think, 13 miles. So again, if you are good with your water, you shouldn't have any issues there. We never really had to, well, I guess we took water out of one tank, but the rest of the time we got water out of caches. The water caches were definitely adequately stocked. I had plenty of water for everybody. They do a great job of making sure that they kind of keep track of the numbers of people and making sure that your jugs are full when you show up. So I never had any anxiety about the water caches. So just, kind of paying attention to the available water sources. The other thing is interesting is, we had a very detailed plan on that we put together kind of for the whole trip, outlining how many days and in different sections, etc. We had planned on doing this in 4 days, which we actually accomplished. So very glad that we did that. But along the way, we decided to add a zero here that we hadn't put into our plan. So I think the other thing about planning your hike is just keeping it flexible, not putting pressure on yourself to do things that maybe are going to push your body too hard to where you have an injury or something like that. So I think that was smart for us to slow down, take a day off, recalibrate, and get ready for the next section. So I'm definitely happy that we did that. Along those lines, we also had a very detailed plan for our food. We brought our food for the Lordsburg section on the bus with us, and we left our Silver City section food with us at the hotel here. So then when we got back, we didn't really have to do much resupply. It was already pretty much here. After 4 days, it was interesting how our kind of hunger or our cravings for things changed, and so we readjusted our strategy slightly heading into Silver City. So recognize that I think the best laid plans sometimes get thrown awry when you're actually out on trail. So just I think my advice is just stay flexible and enjoy your time out there, and just a little bit of go with the flow is I think good in these situations. Well, we're excited to move on to the next section tomorrow morning. We're going to plan on probably getting up and being over at McDonald's, grab a little bite to eat and get a little coffee around 6 o'clock and hit the trail. So I think on the next section from Lordsburg to Silver City, we've got about 76 miles that we have to do in 4 days. So we're looking at roughly 19 to 20 miles a day. So we feel like we should be good there. We finally start to climb into the mountains where we're going to get some trees, and we're super excited about that. So hope everybody's enjoyed the content that we've put out there so far, and look forward to sharing more with you going forward. So have a great night.